Hello, on this video you join me at the Point of Ayr Nature Reserve. Obviously I'm in a bird hide. This is open to the public. Got some signage above my head here, tells us all about the birds in this area. Just behind the camera over there is the Point of Ayr gas terminal, and around the corner in the village of Talacra is a lighthouse, very popular with tourists, this area. This image was taken by Cleon Griffiths. He does Instagram, Facebook. I'll leave some links in the description box below to what he does. This image is associated with the Christmas giveaway as well, so stay tuned for the channel because the next video will be the Christmas giveaway. Right, so let's crack on with the video. It's all about budget videography and bird watching, obviously. So I'm going to bring you around some of the gear that I use. So starting off with the camera itself, this is the Canon EOS 1300D camera body. I bought this second hand and it was about 250 quid when I bought it, probably about 3 years ago. This is my main vlogging camera, and I do have a, I don't actually know where it is, but I do have the lens that came with it, which is your normal bog standard kind of wide angle lens. So on the camera today I've got a 2x teleconverter. Now the thing is with the teleconverter, it does decrease the light that gets to the sensor in the camera, so we do lose a little bit of light, and that'll be apparent when we see some footage a bit later on. And then on top of that I've got this telephoto lens. Now this is kind of a cheap one, if you can call £100 cheap. This is a 400 to 800mm telephoto lens, and it has to be manually focused. The camera won't recognise this particular lens because obviously there's no, with it being a manual focus, there's no gears or electronics inside it, so the camera doesn't know this exists. So it's all done manually by hand. So if some of the images and video footage you see later on is a little bit out of focus, that's the reason why. I've also got this lens with me, which is a Tamron, what are we talking about now? This is a 70 to 300mm lens. This is motorized, so it can autofocus and all that kind of thing. And sometimes I use this just attached to the camera, and sometimes I'll put the 2x teleconverter in between the camera and this lens, and it all works fine. You know, the camera knows that it's attached because of the electronics inside, so we can actually use the button to autofocus, which helps me out tremendously. So just bringing you in, a little bit closer, I do have a field monitor here, which attaches to the camera via a HDMI lead, normal HDMI to a mini HDMI, which goes into the side of the camera. And on this, this screen has a function on the f4, where the screen will turn red, and the redder the image is, the more in focus I am, so that helps out as well. Also, it's a little bit of a bigger screen than the one on the back of the camera. Moving along, we've got our bird books. Coincidentally, this was probably about £100 as well. Then we've got our bird books for identification, but we don't really need that today because we've got this board up here that tells us what's in the area. Decent pair of binoculars. These are 8x40s by Conus. Again, this is budget stuff I use. They're probably about £40 to £60, something like that. The cheapest thing I've got today actually is a monocular. I think this one was about £12 off Amazon, and this is a 18 to 52, 18 by 52 monocular. So next is the tripod that the main camera is attached to. This is a Manfrotto B3, quite expensive, around about the £200 mark. On this channel I've gone through I don't know how many cheap tripods. The 20 quid, 25 quid ones, they're just not up to filming in the outdoors, so I thought I'd invest in something that's half decent. So this is that telephoto lens I was talking about before with the 2x teleconverter. We're looking at about 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles at this. So as you can see, there's plenty of room in this bird hide. We've got the e-bike down at the bottom over there. There's no one else here. There's been a couple of people turn up this morning for half an hour or so, and then it all went quiet. It's an absolutely brilliant bird hide. The only downfall is there's actually no back wall to it. So that means when I'm using very high powered magnification with the camera, the slightest bit of breeze will make the image unstable and not very usable. The Point of Ayr is part of the Dee estuary. It has a mixture of habitats including beach, sand dune, shingle, mudflats and salt marsh. This carrion crow was filmed from about 1,000 metres away, and you can see just how difficult it was for me to keep the camera trained on it. And here's that beautiful little red shank again. So it's been successful so far. And, it's dinner time now. Got some soup in here, which is beef. Can't remember what it is now. Beef broth. And some Marmite on my sandwiches. So I spent another hour or so at this bird hide, then I decided to move up the North Wales coast to Rhyl and the Brickfield pond, which is locally known as the Bricky. So at this location there's no real need to use the 400 to 800 lens, so I'm just going to stick with the Tamron 70 to 300 on this occasion with no teleconverter. I can get pretty close to the birds here, and there's plenty of them about as well, some common ones and some not so common ones, so let's have a walk round and see what I can see. So the highlight for me on this trip was the great crested grebe. So I've walked all around the Brickfield pond today. It's about a kilometre, I think. This site used to be a clay pit, and then in the 80s it was turned into a nature reserve, and it's used by a local angling club as well. No herons today, unfortunately, but I am glad that I managed to capture that juvenile great crested grebe. So what I'm going to do now is pack all my stuff up, get on the bike and go to my next place, which isn't really a nature reserve, but it's worth just popping in to see what activities are around there. This is Marine Lake. It's a 12-hectare man-made saltwater reservoir. So I managed to capture a cormorant, and disguised amongst the rocks is a flock of lapwings. I did try and get a bit closer with the 800mm lens, but it was ridiculously windy. Next, to move up the River Clwyd estuary towards Rhuddlan. The tide was in and I wasn't expecting to see too much here. I was pleasantly surprised when I saw this flock of Canada geese. So off I go on my e-bike, which is the Career of Vengeance, to my next port of call, which is near the village of Rhuddlan. This reserve isn't even marked on the OS maps, but all the locals know where it is. At this point I decided to switch over to still images rather than videography. The area was just getting too busy with people. It was a late Saturday afternoon. So that's the end of another video. So please do like and subscribe. Like I say, there will be a Christmas giveaway. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon.